All right, so Sean gracefully passed the baton to me, and I am finishing our food excursion by plating our dish. And what I mean by that is, and I tell my sons this every day, you can't have pizza every day. You can't order a pizza and just take it out of the box and not even use napkins. You're using your shirt. So in essence, you need silverware. You need napkins every day. These are our essentials so we can enjoy this meal that we have served from a math perspective. And these essentials for our daily meals, when you apply it to Schoology, you have our intended learning outcomes that you have in front of us. And what you are really doing, in essence, is you're customizing your course. Everything was brought to your course for your students, and you're customizing it by taking ownership of it. So with that, you're associating these materials at the course level with your Google Drive ownership. You're selecting settings within the materials, and you're creating add-ons to establish a consistent routine, okay? A quick reflection, I am part of the Old Dominion University Chesapeake Public Schools Administrative Leadership Cohort. This is our second year of it. This has been a great experience, to say the least, during the pandemic. So we have learned and altered, and we're ready for the challenge, as you would tell in a moment with this presentation. Okay, so in front of you, you have a question, and it's basically saying, what is CAMI? What is the CAMI assignment? And I could give you the quick answer right now. It's a PDF annotator, okay? And you're like, okay. But when you include it within Schoology, you could do more than just that. So this is a quick little 2-minute video. Let me make sure it works. And I'll come back in 2 minutes.
Teaching your students remotely is made easy with CAMI and our integration with Schoology. Here's how you get started. First, get the CAMI extension from the Chrome Web Store. After adding this, you'll notice the CAMI icon in your toolbar. Click on it to head straight to our app, or go to web.camiapp.com. When signing in, make sure to use your school Google account. Ready to create an assignment? Head over to Schoology and go to your desired course. From here, click Add Materials, then go ahead and add an assignment. Fill out the required fields as you normally would. Click the CAMI button to create a CAMI assignment. And attach a file from your Google Drive. When you're all done, just click Create. Now your students can open the assignment through Schoology and complete their work in CAMI. With CAMI, students have access to a wide range of interactive tools, which they can use to explore and express their ideas in different ways, making personalized learning a breeze. And to submit their work, all they have to do is click the Turn In button. Doing this will take them back to Schoology to complete their submission. Ready to grade your students' work? Just open the assignment in Schoology and select the submitted work you wish to grade. A link to their CAMI file will be attached in their submission. Click this to open their work in CAMI. Now you can use CAMI tools to mark up, grade, and give feedback to your students right there on the document. You can insert text boxes, draw freehand, or even leave voice and video comments. When you're all done, go back to the Schoology grading window. Leave a grade and click Submit. Go to our website for more tips and tricks on remote learning with CAMI.
Okay, so now that you've finished watching that 10-minute video, let's basically go back and secure our selection to make it more engaging. And the first task you would do is literally you have to get the CAMI extension for your Chrome browser. Nothing's going to work without that CAMI extension. So you would visit by going to the web store in your Chrome browser and download the CAMI extension. That is both for the teachers and for students. You do it initially one time. And basically what it's doing when you log into CAMI, or when you get the extension, you're actually logging in with your Google account from CP Schools, and everything is going to be tied into their Google Drive at that point. So you need the extension. Side note, you want to go for the basic one. You don't want to, like summer school, I realized everyone kind of enjoyed it, so they went for the full extension, which turned on every feature within Kami, but something might come in the mail or email in a few months after that. So you do want to do with the basic trial, okay? Next, oh, hold on, let me go full screen. Next, with that, you want to, so you have it at your course end. And when we anchored it in the basic, when we anchored it in the supermarket, we just put it as a PDF. Everything was signed a line for Kami and all that, but to take ownership of it, you need to kind of do it, you actually need to do it at your course end. So when you go into your Kami assignment, you open it up, what you need to do is you actually need to make a copy of the PDF. So by making a copy, all you got to do is right click on that PDF and you go, you save that link. This has always been a go-to in doing things, just right clicking. So you want to download it. And when you download it, normally you save it on your hard drive, your downloaded folder on your hard drive. You want to take out anything to make it, any codes that come with that download. Sometimes you have more gibberish, I just call it gibberish, and you want to make it easy for you want to make it easy for yourself to find it and recognize it. Okay. So you're within the Kami assignment in Schoology. You want to go back into your edit field and you want to hit that gear. You want to remove that PDF because now that you don't need that particular one that we brought over as an anchor, you actually want to hit that Kami button. Now that you install the extension, you want to hit the Kami button because you're going to be pulling that downloaded folder that you just did. When you hit the Kami button, a pop-up appears, and basically you want to go to the upload feature or the upload choice at the far right. None of this, the PDF that you brought over isn't in your Google Drive. It was anchored in Schoology, so you're pulling up your upload. But because you have that Kami extension on your Chrome browser, now it's associated with your Google Drive. You just have to retrieve the PDF. So you removed it. You're adding in a new one from the downloaded folder. And then what happens is it actually appears, it looks like a Google document from Google Classroom. It basically tells you that you have a copy of this for every student. And if you look at the picture, it actually, the PDF icon has gone away and it kind of looks like a Google document, but it isn't. It's still the PDF that you're using, but now it's assigned to every student. Once you hit that button to save it, now you have an open assignment with Kami viewable to you and to your students, okay? So that's how you know that this is a Kami assignment. That button in the bottom right-hand corner of your Schoology assignment will now show open assignment with Kami. It wasn't there before, and now it is. It's tied to your Google Drive. When the kids click on it, it creates a copy in your folder in Google Drive, and it's retrievable, just like that 2-minute video showed you, okay? So at this time, I'm gonna do a guided practice to show you how easy it is to do it. I kind of went through those steps, but I actually do want to have a guided practice to ensure that we know how to do it. So let me switch over. And we're going to use the chat feature. Let me open up my chat. So we're in the fridge. I want to make sure you see it. Give me a second. I'm going to view in the other device and make sure you see it. Actually, you can go on mute if you want and respond this way just to ensure that we can get through this group. So we're looking at 320. So if we are going into, and if I ask the question, you can respond. So we're going into week 1. We're going into Monday. There are 2 assignments. I could tell by the icon. I'm going into how do I know I could continue? What's the first thing that I'm looking for that I know I could use Cami. Okay, I'll give you a hint, and so somewhere on the browser.
Got a pencil and a paper?
Plugin.
The plugin. So the plugin is up here. That's how you know I could do a Cami, like basically take ownership of it because of the plugin. That's the first thing that you would need to look for. You got to make sure you have it. So if I go into this Cami assignment or this assignment, I'm going to scroll down, and as you can tell, that button is not there. Nothing's there. It's just open with Cami. It's not the other one I mentioned. So I would right click on it, save link as. Okay. Which folder should I use to ensure that I can find it again? Anyone? Where should I put this downloaded folder just to ensure that we can find it again? All right, it's the download folder. Want to take out anything that's gibberish and hit save. Okay, as you can tell, it's right there. Then I'm going up to my gear, select edit. Give it a moment. What do I need to do first while I'm here? And this could be open to anyone.
Push the Cami button.
Right, but what about this PDF?
Well, you don't need it anymore.
Want to remove it, exactly, want to remove it. Now we're gonna go with that Cami button. Okay. Which tab am I using? You have a few choices. Upload. Thank you. Is it somewhere in your Google Drive?
Yes, download.
In your download folder.
It's in your download folder, which is on your hard drive, so it's nowhere to be found in your Google Drive yet. Okay. This isn't that hard. The fact that we put everything ready to go, you have the instructions for the students in the assignment, you have the PDF. These quick little steps it's taking us like a minute or two, but it's not hard to associate it back to your Google Drive. And that annotator does come in, it comes in tremendously with making lines, inserting a text box, all these PDFs that are ready to go from your Big Ideas textbook. I mean, it was just too easy. This is taking longer than it should. I mean, because all the things we're doing on this one little MacBook Air. But while we're waiting, at the end, you'll see that big button that says Open Assignment with Cami. I'm going to continue with the presentation. I'll come back and check on this. It still needs, it's not cooked well enough, so it's back in the oven. And I'm going to continue with the next step. All right, we're back to our silverware. And then we're going back to that discussion board. And it seems like discussion board has been the hot topic during this our little PD. And we're going to show you two different things that you can do with your discussion board to make it even better than you would think. Okay? So here, as you can tell from our GIF, basically it's giving you option. And you wouldn't think much of it, but there's that choice right there that says members can add other responses. You're just bypassing that because it's like a no-brainer. But when you click on it, you'll have this response. We require members to post before revealing your responses. And what you want to do here is you're preventing everyone from looking at each other's answers first. You want to make sure you're doing that because you want an original thought. You know, you're trying to create a real world experience. So here you would tell everyone, hey, kind of like when I'm talking to my kids, sometimes they talk on top of us. And it's like, wait a minute, you got to stop and you got to listen. You got to hear what I'm saying. So with the discussion board, you're doing the same thing. You're forcing the student to basically read what you're asking them to do. And then they're writing down their reply. They're not looking at anyone else's. They're writing it down and they got to post. Okay, so that's what you want. You want to turn on that button. It turns on, it's the button next to the green button. And then this is the reply that you get. You basically, when you click on it, everybody else's reply is grayed out. So that right there is a real world situation where the student is basically stopped, he's thinking, he's writing it down, and he's responding correctly to your discussion question. There's another feature that I want to share with you in regards to discussion. And basically, it's using the audio video recording, okay? When you do this, in addition to doing the previous feature, you're basically making that student kind of orally, he's writing it down and he's orally presenting it to you. It's like using Flipgrid, but it's within Schoology. And he's not looking at anyone else's. He really is thinking about it. The kid selects the mic, and basically he has the audio video recording. You'll tell him to do the video, and you'll tell him to use that one. And he gets into the habit of literally thinking it through, making sure he's clear and precise. And down the road, what you you end up doing is you want to add that grading rubric. You want to make it where he's you want to promote self-efficacy. You want to make sure that he is truly thinking it through and taking his time. What you notice a lot of kids are doing is literally they're looking at Google, finding the answer and posting it. But when he has to record himself, or she has to record himself and give an authentic response, that's a game changer right there. And when you throw in the grading rubric, you can't beat that. Okay, moving on to silverware. Of course, we all need silverware, which is your formative assessments. We took all these formative assessments from ExamView and we put them in there for you. But basically, you got to turn on certain things to make it work better for the students. Instead of clicking the gear, you would assume that you would click the gear, but no, you would have to click on the actual naming of it to go into the settings. And this is what you have. The goal here is to create a stress-free environment. You definitely want to create that stress-free environment because you want to basically emulate the real world. You don't get up in the mornings. Here's a clear example. You don't get up in the morning and run a marathon. You actually train for a marathon. You train, like for the first month, you run a mile. For the second month, you run 2 miles. You keep going with that pattern, okay? So in this situation, you want to create a stress-free. If he's taking a formative assessment every other day, you want to create it where there's no testing anxiety. He's doing his best. So on the first picture on the far left, you have it where it's the settings. You click on it, and then everything that we put in, the second picture reflects, which is basically everything's turned off. There's nothing turned on. So every teacher would have to customize it to do this stress-free environment. And what I mean by that is you're setting in your dates. You're creating a time limit because in essence, you don't want to give a child 3 hours to complete 5 questions because that's not really running a marathon. That's taking a walk, okay? You're giving him attempts. And I say that because in essence, you do want his highest score. You don't quit on the first run. You literally have to train your body, muscle memory to get through and understand these contents, these math contents. So you do want to have a reflection where he's trying and he's going back and doing it again, or she is trying, going back and doing it better again, okay? Of course, everything else is like a no-brainer. Randomized order, 1 question per page, so it's clear, it's precise, it's not, cluttered. Question review, resumable, view submission, everything you want to turn on. You want to give this person the best environment to succeed, okay? And create it stress-free because again, you and I do not get up in the mornings and run 20 miles, okay? So we literally have to take it a step at a time, and we're doing this asynchronous, in an asynchronous way in Schoology. Okay, the next one is your completion rules. And this 4-minute video should reflect everything you should do, or everything positive about the completion rules in order for you to turn on, okay? So let's watch this for 4 minutes.
The Student Completion feature grants you the ability to set completion rules onto any course folder or item within a folder. This allows students to move through a course at their own pace, giving each student the chance to learn at their own rate while still learning the same content. Instructors can track student progress throughout the term to better assess outcomes. Use the Add Requirement link to add rules for items to be completed. There's also the option to mandate that items must be completed in sequential order, meaning a student will not be able to proceed until they complete the first item. Once rules have been set, students will be able to see what the requirements are on each item. Once in a folder, you have the ability to set student completion rules for the materials within the folder. Each type of material has different options for completion rules. For a page, students must view the item. A discussion can be set to view the item, post a comment or reply, or they must score at least a certain grade. For an assignment, you can set the rules so that students must view the item, post a comment or reply, make a submission, or score at least a certain grade. For a quiz, rules can be set so that students must view the item, post a comment or reply, make a submission, or score at least a certain grade. If materials are set to be completed in sequential order, students will not be able to access materials until they've completed the previous items. When student completion is turned on, students will see the rules set by you under each item. If the item has been completed, the check mark and text will be green to show the student her progress. For example, this student simply needed to view the page, and now that item is complete. She now must post a comment or reply to complete the rules for the discussion. This student sees that he has completed the first two items. His teacher did not require that the items must be completed in sequential order, so he can choose any item. He chooses to complete the assignment next. To turn in his assignment, he clicks Submit and has three choices of how to turn in the assignment through the Dropbox. Either upload a file, create content in the rich text editor, or import from resources. If the checkbox next to requirements must be completed in sequential order is checked, students will not be able to access items until they've completed the previous item. This student will unlock the discussion when she views the page on JD Salinger. Then she must post a comment or reply to the discussion before she can unlock the assignment. Now that she has posted a reply, she can turn in her assignment, Chapter 1 through 4 study guide. In order to access the quiz, she must score at least a 20 on the study guide. To check the status of her students, the teacher clicks Check Student Progress. She clicks on the student's name to see the items that have been completed and which items are in progress. The teacher can also check the overall progress of a folder by clicking Check Student Progress from the course profile. A green check mark will show that a student has completed all of the contents within a folder, or the % complete.
Okay. So to me, when we use the term mediated micro levels for students, what does that really mean, real world? I'm using my sons because, I love them. But basically, when I hear that, I'm thinking it's a chore list. A chore list for mom and dads, for them to do something within a day or two. That's what these completion rules are. You could set, and that's important nowadays because the kids are home, like my sons, they'll be home by themselves. So the completion rule comes in play. You could put them in these folders, and basically they're learning at their own pace. Okay, when you turn on the sequential, basically that's slowing down the process, and that might be needed for a differentiated learning, and you might have separate folders to assign to separate kids and turn on that sequential rules. Okay, but basically you need that chore list. The kids are at home, and you have to make it where they're learning on their own pace. And what you're doing on your end, and I'll show that, is basically you're tracking their progress. You're going in between this synchronous, these live sessions. You're going in and you're monitoring their asynchronous materials that you assign in your course. And you can just quickly go in and check their progress in each folder you could, and you could see what they've been doing. A reminder, real quick. So if you decide to use completion rules on the course level, which is basically on the beginning, your stream, and you use it for every folder, once you do it for every folder, you have to do it what's inside those folders. So you may want to consider doing the items inside the folders first, so the kids learn how to get used to it. Okay, you don't want to start putting completion rules for all the folders. You just want to get them going a little bit. Okay. When you do, another reminder is when you create all these rules and you're sharing it with your teachers, perhaps you're sharing it to a PLC group, all the settings are in place. So you're giving it to someone else with those original completion rules. And then when they add it to their course, it's still in place. So just keep that in mind. When you are sharing it with all that in play, you're sharing it with everyone else. Okay, so we do have 2 minutes. We do have so I'm going to quickly do a completion rule with what we created from the refrigerator course that we created for you guys. Look, that Cami thing is still going. I think I have too many things going on here. So let's see if I have to hit refresh and see what happens. Give me a moment. I'm hoping to see that button. Let's see. Nah, it might be a redo on my end, okay? Yeah, it's a redo. Let me go back to the fridge. I'm gonna go into that Algebra 1, that week 1. I'm going into that Monday, okay? I'm going inside. I'm gonna turn on my completion rules in here, okay? I'm gonna train them how to do it, so I'm not gonna turn on that sequential. I'm gonna just add the requirements. And then here, I could pick any one I like. It's the first one is the assignment, so there's plenty of assignments here. So I'm gonna select one, and as you can tell, they have 2 responses. That's the discussion. I'm gonna add another requirement. And what it is that every time, they're in there by SOLs, but I don't know what type of material it is until I select it. So this big idea, this puzzle, once I select it, that icon will change. It hasn't, so I'm gonna select another one. There's that formative assessment, okay? I'm gonna go in there and I want them to score at least an 80, okay? Add another one. I'm gonna use that assignment. And I want to score at least, with that, I just want them to make a submission, okay? And then I want to hit Save Changes. Completion rules aren't that hard. They're pretty simple, and it's something that we want to include. In addition to adding due dates on it, you want to kind of add it because they're home alone and you're giving them a chore list, okay? Let's go back to the presentation. I think I'm passing the baton to Fallon, I think. Thank you.